Hashivenu Hashem Elecho v'noshuva chadesh meinu chadesh yameinu kekedem Hashivenu Hashem Elecho v'noshuva chadesh yameinu chadesh yameinu kekedem. We're on page 167. So, what we were learning yesterday was all about the eyes, right? Just to go over a couple of points. He spoke about Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, that the Zohar says on Shema that is Rashi Tevot, Se'u Marom Einechem, lift your eyes heavenly towards the heaven. In other words, hear that Hashem is one to the point that it's clear to you like you're seeing it. And then he spoke about that most things that we actually see, we don't actually notice, or we don't see, unless somebody sort of like calls our attention to it. And the idea of Su Marom Einechem, Marom means lifted to the most high, even higher than heaven. Hi, Moshe. Even higher than heaven, right? And he said that slaves are always looking down, and free people are looking up, right? In other words, slaves have a very low perspective. People are looking down at them all the time. They're looking down, and free people are looking up, right? And then to explain that a bit further, he further explained that people who have a sense of eternity look in your eyes, right? Whereas people who don't look at your eyes, like who don't look in your eyes when they're talking with you, they generally they're just looking at all the exterior stuff. And then the last point that he made was that during the Shalosh Regalim, during the 3 holidays, Pesach, Sukkot, and Shavuot, we had this mitzvah to be Ole Regel, right? And it says Yira'eh Kol Zechrucha, that every male person in Israel is to come and be seen. And like we said yesterday, that the Gemara also reads it Yira'eh, that everybody is to come and get a vision of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And then what we spoke about was that why one of the deeper reasons why we don't do melacha, why we don't do work on Shabbos and on Yom Tov, is because there's such a great revelation of godliness that doesn't occur during the week. So that you can't do melacha, because if you do melacha on these days, you're binding yourself back up to the weekdays, and you're not able to be present to receive the revelation that's coming down on Shabbos and on Yom Tov, right? And we gave the example: somebody's going to their chuppah, and once somebody calls you and says, "Oh, I need you to do this now," and you say, "Well, I'm sorry, I'm standing here under my chuppah. It's not the time to go and do to go and cut the grass or water the lawn or do business and so on." So the whole thing began with the pasuk with Eliezer saying, "Va'avo hayom el ha'ayin." I arrived today at the fountain, right? So we have to connect that back to that pasuk, page 167. So Hashevet Yehuda, that's Rabbi Remela Eger, Mamshich v'omer dvarim neflaim. He continues and he says some amazing things. Ha'ot ayin, the letter ayin, romezet lidvarim rabim. It is a remez, it's an allusion to many things. Ayin b'gematria shivim. The letter ayin has the numerical value of 70. HaKiddush b'leil Shabbat kolel shivim milim. Kiddush on Friday night consists of 70 words. Kiminyan yayin, which is equal to the number of the numerical value of the word yayin, wine. Yud nun. And then ayin hugam ever ha're'iyah. The ayin is the limb with which we see. V'yesh shivim umot ba'olam. There are 70 nations in the world. So you have all these things that are connected with ayin, 70. The eye, the wine, the kiddush, the 70 nations. So he says, Ketzad, we're at the end of the third line, Ketzad yachol adam lishtachrer mehashibut l'shivim ha'umat. So how can a person be liberated from being enslaved to the 70 nations? Now, right, the people of Israel are compared to the lonely sheep in the midst of the 70 nations, right? Among 70 foxes. Familiar with that, right? Gemara says that after the Churban Beis HaMikdash, a lot of people stopped saying in the davening, they stopped saying Hakel, HaGodel, HaGibor, VaHanoira, because they said, where is Hashem's Gevurah? Where do you see that Hashem is HaGibor? Look at what they did. They destroyed the Beit HaMikdash, right? Until the Anshe Knesset HaGdolah came along and they said, if you see that the lonely sheep is among 70 wolves and the wolves are not devouring it, that is the biggest proof that the shepherd is there watching over that sheep, right? So the idea of being enslaved to the 70 nations means, take a look at, do you see any Jews today walking around dressed like Avraham Avinu and Sarah Imenu? Right? You dress like what you dress according to 167. You dress according to the fashion of the world, right? And I don't mean to be I don't mean to be like, particular with this example. I'm not stuck on this example, but I'm just using it as an example that if you think about much of, like if you were to sort of take an accounting of all your consciousness through the day, if you think about all your consciousness through the day, and think about what, I think you might want to move a bit more to your right, and sort of like taking like a little accounting of, in the past half hour, in the past 10 minutes, what was I thinking about, and sort of go through the day and think about what you were thinking about. You'll find, maybe not you, but I know for myself, that most of the time was spent being involved with worldly things, right? By the end of the day, if I thought about God for 5 minutes, pretty good, wouldn't you say? 5 minutes of thinking about the Rebbeinu Shalom through the days, huh?
How many people do that?
I don't know. I'm just saying that like we're always so busy thinking about everything besides the Rebbeinu Shalom. There's a story that one of the early Hasidic masters was the Chayei Sara. They called him the Chayei because they said that he was able to see from one end of the world to the other. So this young man became a Chassid, and his friend, who was still a misnagid, whenever they would meet, he would sort of get into an argument with him, like, what do you need to be a Chassid for? What do you need to be a Chassid for? So one day he says to him, he says, my Rebbe can read your mind. He like, like you just need to be around him, and he knows what you're thinking about. And he says, that if you hang around long enough with my Rebbe, it sort of rubs off on the Hasidim also. The Hasidim pick up that ability a little bit. So his friend says, so what about you? You're able to do that too? So he says, well, sometimes I can try. So he says, okay, well, let's see. What am I thinking about now? So he says, you're thinking about the Rebbeinu Shalom. He says, no, I'm not. So he says, that's why you better come to my Rebbe. Understand?
It's a good trick.
Whatever answer he would have given, he would have said yes.
Right? Understand? That's the dilemma that we're living in. That's the idea of Shibud 167. That we're enslaved to the 70 nations. Like, we're always worried about what are the Goyim going to say? What are the Goyim going to say? Look at the stuff that we're living through right now. Stuff that in any other country, there wouldn't be any doubts as to how they would handle these terrorists. No, there's no questions about it whatsoever. What they would do. And we're tippy-toeing, and what are the Goyim going to say? What are the Goyim going to say? What are the Goyim going to say? We're living here in Eretz Yisrael, and we're still very, very much enslaved to the other nations. So he says, we're in the fourth line. So how can you get out of this enslavement to the 70 nations? Rak al yidei kedushat ha'einayim. Only through guarding the sanctity, the holiness of your eyes. Ki mataratan shel shivim ha'umot, because the goal of the 70 nations, matarato shel ha'olam, the goal of the world, hi lenasot v'li herev likrom lanu listakel klapei mata. They are constantly trying to cause us to look down, to see everything just from a street level perspective. Hashem poteach lanu et hashar lischot le'einayim ketoshot b'Shabbat hazeh. So this Shabbos since so much of the parsha is talking about the eyes, this Shabbos is a gateway to merit seeing with holy eyes. This is parshat Chayei Sara. בפרשה שלנו יש משמעות נוספת של המילה עין. And 1 second. So that last sentence is based on the idea that, once the Alter Rebbe said, maybe more than once to the Hasidim, a Yid darf leben mit den Zeiten. A Jew has to live with the times. And the Hasidim sort of were surprised to hear that from him. Like they said, like, what does that mean, Rabbi? I have to get tattoos or get my nose pierced or something like that. And they didn't quite phrase the question like that, but just modernizing it a little bit. And he answered, to live with the times means to live with the parsha of the week. Okay? To live with the parsha of the week, which, by the way, I don't think I'm going to be giving the parsha class tonight in case anybody here was planning to come. We're going to a wedding. You going to a wedding today?
Also.
Am I?
Yeah, going to a wedding?
Don't think so. Should we?
No.
Be going? Yeah, should we be going?
Of course.
Who's wedding? Just tell us where it is. It's Wednesday.
You know Karen Bernstein?
So I have a wedding tomorrow.
She used to work at Heritage House. No. Oh. You want to go open the door for David, please?
Oh, he's here for this.
Anyway, nice. I see. Anyway, so the parsha is the energy of the week. And parshat, like when you think about it, that I don't know what the number is, but for sure, well over 1 million Jews are reading the same parsha together every Shabbos, right? In other words, the parsha is very, very much the energy of the Jewish energy of the week, right? So, being that this parsha, page 167, being that this parsha is so much about eyes, right? So Reb Shlomo says that means that this week's parsha is a shav, it's a gateway towards merit kedushat ha'inayim. Okay. בפרשה שלנו יש משמעות נוספת של המילה עין. Now in our parsha there's also an additional meaning to the word ayin, which is ma'ayan, a fountain. הנה אנוכי ניצב על עין המים. Eliezer says, I'm standing here at the fountain of the water fountain. And then it says, וירץ לבן אל האיש החוצה אל העין, and Lavan ran out to the man to the fountain. And then it says, והנה עומד על הגמלים על העין, and behold, he was standing with the camels at the fountain, right? And then Eliezer says, V'avo hayom el ha'ayin, and today I came to the fountain, right? And then he says, Hinei anochi nitzav el ein hamayim. So shuv v'shuv, ayin, or ein, in other words, mayan, we have the word mayan, and we have the word ayin, which is, obviously, the two words have to be connected. So what's the connection between eyes and a fountain? So he says like this, Ha'inayim po'alot harbe yoter miru'iyah. Eyes do a lot more than just seeing. Shacharit shel Shabbat. Shacharis in davening on Shabbos, with Tfilat Nishmat Kol Chai, in the Nishmas prayer, אנחנו אומרים וכל עין לך תצפה, and every eye is looking towards you. Yesh anashim shechoshvim or letzapot is tzofeh is like
Longing for.
no, it's actually it's like like you used to have like a tzofeh that would have like a guy standing on the roof like looking out watching, but it's
not school.
Har Hatzofim, correct.
Okay.
Now, but the tzapot also means not just that you're looking to see, you're also hoping for, right? Ani mitzapeh, I'm hoping. Okay. So he says, Yesh anashim shechoshvim shetzarich letzapot be'emtzaut halev. There are people that think that hoping is a matter of the heart. You hope with your heart. אבל ציפייה אמיתית מתקיימת בעיניים. So Shlomo says, but really, real hoping is something that's with the eyes. זוהי ציפייה של געגועים. It's a looking with longing. אני יכול לראות בעיניים שהשם אחד. I can see with my eyes that Hashem is one. אבל יש מדרגה יותר גבוה, there's a higher level, בכל עין לך תצפה, that every eye is longing, looking towards you, שהעיניים ממש מתגעגעות, the eyes are yearning. גם על אברהם אבינו מסופר שתחילת התקרבותו הייתה מתוך מבט העיניים. Also concerning Avraham Avinu, it says that his initial starting to come close to Hashem began with vision. The Medrash says, Ra'a bira doleket. He saw a capital city on fire. Hura sheyesh olam. He saw that there's a world. V'sha'al, and he asked, Aye mekom kvodo ribono shel olam eifo ata. Where are you, God? Where are you? להיות יהודי בעולם אין פירושו רק לדעת שיש בורא עולם. To be a Yid doesn't mean, this is really important what he's saying right now. To be a Yid doesn't mean just that you know that there's a God. זה נכון, that there's a creator. אבל הקדושה המיוחדת שלנו מתבטאת בציפייה שלנו למשיח. What makes us particularly, what particularly expresses our holiness is in our longing, yearning, looking for Mashiach. אנחנו מצפים למען העולם כולו. And we're looking for Mashiach not just for our own selves, we're looking for Mashiach for the whole world. אנחנו מתגעגעים למשהו מעבר למציאות הנוכחית. We're yearning for something that's beyond the present reality. ומכאן עולה השאלה, and it's from this yearning that the question arises, Aye mekom kvodo, where is your glory, Hashem? Where is your glory?
I have a question.
Yes.
You said before that we can look at the eyes more than we can look with the heart.
Didn't say quite that, but what's your question?
My question is, how can you see deeper with your eyes than your heart? If you look at something with your eyes and you're not in your heart is somewhere else, you're not actually looking at something.
He's not saying the eyes without the heart. Okay. We mentioned the other day that the Ramchal says that where in your body does your neshama shavak most of all is in the eyes. Okay. So the idea is that you can see when somebody like really wants something, you can see it in their eyes more than anything else.
From the outside.
Huh?
From the outside.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but it's the whole ayin, the whole tzitzape. It's like the eyes are most connected with the neshama, more than the heart. The heart is like an organ that that's making this, pumping the blood. You feel things in the heart. Understand? You feel things in the heart because your heart reacts to what's going on inside of you and so on, right? But when you're yearning for something, like, okay, so we say in English, it's like, with all my heart, or even in ganzen Herz, right? With all my heart. But that's saying I really mean this, I'm really present, and so on, right? But you don't say I'm looking forward. You're already saying I'm looking forward. You understand? But I'm looking forward to seeing you with my heart. I'm looking forward to seeing you with my eyes. Okay? I'm looking forward to seeing you, right? And what is it that you want to see? What you want to see is, you want to see Mashiach should be here already. You want to see the Geula. Okay? It's now holy eyes, right? Or like we said yesterday, people who are connected to eternity, they're always looking. They're always looking, right? They're looking in your eyes. They're looking all the time. They're looking. They're yearning. They're looking forward to. They're right. But that requires kedushas einayim. Understand? I don't know where you grew up. Somewhere in the States. Yeah. You ever go down Broadway, 42nd Street, Times Square? You know how much damage is done to the eyes over there? I don't mean just you. I mean all of us, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So when we speak about kedushat einayim, and we're talking about, like, the ability to see holiness, right? The eyes are a very, very sensitive part of the body, right? Like as soon as something is like near the eye, like right away you close the eye and so on, right? It's a very sensitive part of the body, right? And to have the ability for kedushat einayim, the ability to see in a deep and a holy way. Now let's give you a more important example, okay? I don't know what kind of teachers that you had, but I hope that you had teachers with good eyes. And what I mean by teachers with good eyes is when your teachers were looking at you, did they see, wow, this kid has got so much potential, this kid has got so many good middas, I just need to help them bring it out? Or were they looking and they were saying, oh, you did this, oh, you did that, or you didn't get your notes signed from your parents, or this or that, right? And their eyes are no good anymore. You know what I mean? Okay. I have a friend that I haven't seen him in years, and his father all of a sudden got sick. His stomach ruptured, and in 2-3 days he was nifter. And he called me up, and he was concerned about, like, he wanted. They weren't so much religious, but he's a very spiritual guy. And he wanted his father Dafka to have like a really kosher levaya. And in Montreal, there's the Chevra Kadisha and there's paper maze, okay?
There's what?
Papermans. It's a company, a funeral home. Anyway, but he was concerned that if he does it at the Chevra Kadisha, like, they have a machitza there, not a lot of the people coming, they're not so religious and so on, and how is that going to affect it? Anyway, I said, look, I'll tell you what, you'll meet Rabbi Greenwald, the guy who takes care of the Chevra Kadisha. You'll ask him whatever you want to ask him, and then you'll make a decision. Happens to be that I went down to the hospital. He called me up that his father was just nifted. Went down to the hospital. I get on the phone, and Rabbi Greenwald happened to be in the hospital to pick up another nifter. And they said, can you stop by on whatever floor we were on? And he said, yes, no problem. And the elevator door opens up, and we're outside the elevator. Rabbi Greenwald steps out. And my friend just says hello to him, and he didn't ask him a single question. He just says, could you please take care of my father? So I asked him afterwards, I said, Eric, you had all these questions. You were concerned about, going to the Chevra Kadisha. What happened? So he says, I saw this man's eyes. Bless you. I saw this man's eyes, and that was it. I didn't have, as soon as I saw his eyes, I didn't have any questions. You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when you go? I hope that you have a connection with the Chachus, that you have a connection with your Rebbe. What happens when you're looking at the eyes of your Rebbe? It's the same like when you're looking at anybody else's eyes? No, it's different. It's like there's a whole different, yeah. You told me a couple of stories in your life. It's definitely different, right? And so when you're looking into somebody's holy eyes, it's different. Now says Yid, what it was like when he would look in Shlomo's eyes. It's a whole different thing. It's like, hey, am I here? Is there some other world that we're living in? You understand? It's a whole, okay.
I've been using the expression eyes of Mashiach and I'm Shlomo Mashiach to look that way. That Shlomo had those kinds of eyes. He could look into a person and he can see holy brother, holy sister, which he said to people. He looked at, he really meant it.
Yeah.
Because he could see the potential. He could see the holiness within each person.
Right. Exactly.
I want to say one other thing that might strengthen it. I don't know if anyone has ever been to a chiropractor. I've been to a chiropractor. And my chiropractor teaches me exercises. And one of the most important things is how I'm looking with my eyes while I'm doing something completely the other side of my body. It affects everything if I'm looking in a certain way. In other words, eyes are very much connected to the whole nervous system.
Yeah, that I know, but
I'll be doing something with my hand down here, and if I'm not looking this way, it doesn't work. The exercise won't have its effect. You think of eyes, it's not just seeing; it's much more. Even for the body.
Well, I know that before anybody has like brain surgery, they always send them to an eye specialist because they say that in the eye you can see the entire body. Yeah.
It's the only organ directly connected to the brain.
The only one, yeah.
Organ, yeah. Right.
Opposite curve.
Straight.
The opposite curve.
Yeah,
Opposite curve.
Okay, so he says that to be a Yid, right? It's more than to just say I know that there's a God, right? But rather, so what's more than just saying I know that there's a God? It means that you're yearning, you're looking, you're waiting to see Mashiach already, for the sake of the whole world. We're yearning for something that's beyond the present reality. And so why does a Yid Bichlal say, where is the glory of God? What makes you even ask such a question? Why would you even ask such a question? Right? You go into a shopping center, you say, where's the glory of God?
Not on sale.
Huh? No, I'm serious. Why would you say, where's the glory of God right there, in the Gap store or whatever? Why would you say that? Because you're obviously, if you're saying, where's your glory, Hashem, that means that you have good eyes and you're looking around and you're saying, okay, what's with this big gap? Right? Where are you? Right? It's the second last paragraph on 167. Rabbi Remele Eger must be a Sefer Shevet Yehudis. Rabbi Remele Eger explains, Shizehu in Yana shel parshat Chayei Sara. This is what parshat Chayei Sara is all about. Shabbat hazo ani zocher lagat lo rak b'kedusha shel re'iyah be'emtzut ha'inayim. This week's parsha I can merit to get in touch with not just the holiness of seeing with the eyes, but also to merit a really deep longing look with through the eyes. Okay? Like it's last Thursday during one of the shiurim, when Raz was giving the shiurim, we were singing. I was looking around the room, and there was somebody you could see the eyes were like seeing something beyond. You see it, and did you ever notice Reb Shlomo's eyes would go around from person to person, right?
Mm-hmm.
It always went immediately to somebody who was thinking about Hashem at that moment. Okay, I checked it out. I actually, because I noticed very often, he'd be teaching or he'd be singing, and I'd watch where did his eyes go right now? And I'd look at that person, and you could see that person was mamish thinking about Hashem at that moment. People who are connected do that instinctually, naturally. Your eyes go to somebody that's like mamish thinking about the Rebbeinu Shalom at that moment. Right? So it sounds, I don't know what it sounds like to you, but that's what it is. Just telling you that's what it is. Okay? I once noticed it also with Rav Steinsaltz. I was sitting there the first time I met Rav Steinsaltz, and he was in Montreal doing a Shabbaton, and he said something, I don't know about the Beit HaMikdash or whatever it is, and Judy, there's a certain breath that I know that when she was that breath, I know that she was somewhere up there, okay? And we were 15 rows in a big crowd. And as soon as she I knew what happened there. His eyes immediately went, came to her. If you're connected, that's what happens. Your eyes are going to a holy place. You want to check out where you're holding in your connection with the Rebbeinu Shalom. Check out, what are you looking at? What are you seeing? What do you see? Right? Okay. So this week's parsha, right? We can be zeicher, we can merit to get in touch with the deeper vision of our eyes. אולי זו הסיבה שמקום קבורתם של אבותינו ואימותינו הקדושים נקרא מערת המכפלה. This might also be the reason that our ancestors are buried in the מערת המכפלה מלשון כפול, which means double, right? כי כל יהודי זקוק לבחינה מכפלה double, yeah, because there were two sets of couples. That's one thing, and the other parshat is it was like a two-level cave. You're in real estate, you know that, right? That's the Rashi says that, right? So כי כל יהודי זקוק לבחינה הכפולה הזאת, because every Jew needs this double aspect. בחינת שני חיי שרה, right? The way Reb Shlomo was explaining earlier, the two lives of Sarah. Not pshat. Shnei Chayei Sara, the pshat is the years of the life of Sarah. But just another reading. The two lives of Sarah. מצד אחד אני מוכרח לדעת בדירות שהשם הוא אחד. On the one hand, I need to know and I need to see that Hashem is one. מצד שני, אני צריך לצפות עם העיניים. On the other hand, I have to yearn with my eyes ולהתגעגע געגועים עצומים למשהו הרבה יותר עמוק. And to yearn for something a lot deeper. Okay? What's a lot deeper than knowing that Hashem is Echad? Mashiach. Understand? To see it, to yearn for the revelation, so that it should be begalui, that it should be revealed, it should be revealed to everybody, it should be clear to everybody that it's Hashem Echad. Right? כשאני מסתכל על אדם אחר, page 168, when I'm looking at another person, העיניים שלו מספרות לי האם הוא אוהב אותי או לא. When I'm looking at someone else's eyes, his eyes tell me whether he likes me or not. אם אני יכול לראות את הגעגוע בעיניו, if I can see the yearning in his eyes, אם אני יכול לראות עבור מה הוא מתגעגע, if I can see what he's yearning for, סימן שהוא אוהב אותי. That's a sign that he loves me. זה כל כך מיוחד להסתכל על מישהו מתוך אהבה גדולה. It's so special to look at somebody with great love. אבל דעו לכם את עומק העמקים, but I want you to know the deepest depths. כשאני אוהב מישהו מאוד, when I love somebody very much, אני מרגיש צורך לעצום את עיניי בנוכחותו. When I love somebody the most, I feel that I have to close my eyes in their presence. כי מתעוררים בי געגועים עמוקים למשהו שהוא הרבה מעבר לראייה הפשוטה. Because deep yearnings are aroused in me that are beyond simple seeing, right? When you shut your eyes and you say Shema, do you not see? When you close your eyes and you say Shema Yisrael, nobody's answering me today? When you close your eyes and you say Shema, do you see or you don't see?
Don't see.
You don't see.
Oh.
Of course you see. Right? You see, you're closing your eyes, you're just not seeing the Gashmiyas, but you're just seeing something more. Right? So sometimes like when and he always says this, he says that, when you're kissing a baby or whatever it is, like you don't, or you're not keeping your eyes open all the time. When it's the deepest, you're actually shutting your eyes, right? התורה מספרת שכשראתה רבקה את יצחק, the Torah says that when Rivka saw Yitzchak, ותיקח הצעיף ותדחס. She took the kerchief and she covered herself. היא כיסתה את הפנים, she covered her face, את העיניים. היא בעצם אמרה ליצחק, she was basically saying to יצחק, הקשר שלנו הוא במדרגה עליונה כזו, our connection is so deep, שמוכרחים לעצום את העיניים, we have to shut our eyes. Reb Shlomo always used to say this also at a Bedekin. He used to say like the Chosin is covering the face of the Kala, He's telling her, like, my connection with you is so deep, it's beyond what you can see with the physical eyes. Okay? הגמרא אומרת, the Gemara says, אסור לאדם שיקדש את האישה עד שיראנה. The Gemara says you're not allowed to marry a woman without first seeing her, right? We learned this from Yaakov getting tricked by Lavan and ending up marrying Leah instead of Rachel. So אולי אפשר לומר פה חידוש, so maybe we can say a חידוש over here. הגמרא איננה מתכוונת רק שאסור להתחתן עם אישה לפני שמסתכלים עליה. But the Gemara is not just meaning to say that you're not supposed to marry a woman before you see her, אלא אסור לאדם להתחתן איתה עד שיכול לראות אותה במדרגה של בכל עין לך תצפה. That the Gemara is saying that you're not supposed to get married to her until you reach the level of that deep vision. להביט בה בעיניים של כיסופים, to look at her with yearning eyes. זהו עמוק מכל עמוק. This is deeper than deeper than the deep. מה הם כיסופים? What is yearning? השבט מיהודה מסביר, מדוע המעיין או העין נקראים ככה? Why is the fountain called by that name, מעיין or עין? מעיין הוא מקום ששואבים בו מים. A fountain is a place where you're drawing water. יכול להיות שכעת נראה שיש בו רק מעט מים. Now, it might look like all you see is just a little bit of water there, right? You've been to the Ariz Mikveh? How much water is there?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. No, the correct answer is you don't see a lot.
In the mikveh, there's not a lot.
But that mikveh is connected. That's the point. It's that water is not there by itself. Okay? יכול להיות שכעת נראה שיש בו רק מעט מים. A real מעיין, it might look like it doesn't have much water right now. אבל באמת אפשר לשאוב משם מים לאין קץ. A real מעיין, you can keep on drawing water from it infinitely. כעת, at the moment, על פני השטח, on the surface, רואים מים מועטים. You just see a little bit of water. אבל מי שמתבונן בעיניים קדושות, but somebody who's thinking deeply with holy eyes, במבט של ציפייה, he has a look of yearning and outlook, יכול לראות הרבה מעבר לזה. Such a person can see far beyond that. כשאדם מסתכל עליי שלא מתוך אהבה, when somebody looks at me without love, הוא רואה רק איך אני נראה באותו רגע. They only see what I look like at this moment. They're too low, they don't see anything else. אבל כשהוא מביט בי מתוך אהבה עצמה, but when somebody is looking at me with great love, בעיניים מצפות, with yearning eyes, הוא שואב מתוכי את כל הפוטנציאל שלי, he's drawing out all my potential, מגלה אותו, and he reveals it. עד למדרגה הכי עליונה, to the highest level, לכן מעיין נקרא עין. And this is the reason why a מעיין, a fountain, is also called עין. Right? In other words, just like a fountain, you only see the surface, but it goes deep, and there's water and water and more water and more water. So if you would go to the Ariz Mikveh, you would stand there with a bucket and emptying it and emptying it and emptying it, you wouldn't finish. Okay? Right? You wouldn't finish. It just keeps on. It's a mayan. Okay? And the same thing with when you're looking at eyes at somebody with love, you see deeper and deeper and deeper in the person, and you never really get to know the full potential of the person. Okay. I remember when I was teaching in the high school in Montreal, so I noticed that the literature teacher, it wasn't a big school, so it was like one literature teacher for grade 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So she had the same kids year after year, right? Whatever a kid got in grade 8, that's what they got in grade 9, that's what they got in grade 10, that's what they got in grade 11. Like, like if I would have been her student, I would have quit after grade 8. It was, again, just, well, it's not going to make a difference what I'm going to do because you're always giving me the same mark. Okay? But there are people, they see you, they put you into a box, lock the door, and that's where you are for the rest of your life as far as these people are concerned. There's nothing more to find out about you. You get a 77 on your English papers, whether you wrote something good, whether you didn't write something good, you're not worth more than a 77. Here, let's stick the label right on your head, right? Huh? That's right. That's what people do all the time. Oh, you're wearing these kinds of clothes. I know everything about you. I know everything there is to know about you. How do I know? I see the way you're dressed. Right? You're going to argue with Fifth Avenue? Right? That's or what do they call it in England, Fifth Avenue? Lee Avenue?
What?
You don't have like a big fashion street there?
Oxford Street.
Who? Oxford Street?
Oxford Street.
Who said you? How did you know?
I was there.
You were there. Okay. Is that where the university is too? On the same street?
No, all over.
Yeah. Anyway, in a sense, like that's the Shivim Umot. That's the 70 nations of the world. You understand? Go to the Ben Gurion airport and watch people coming off the planes. And you can see people coming from Belgium, they look a certain way. People coming from England, they look a different way. They're dressed differently. From the States, they're dressed differently. From Canada, differently. Go to Boulder, Colorado, you can see Land's End catalog all over the place. Everybody there is dressed from Land's End catalog, etc. You understand? It's the Shivim Umot. You understand? It's the 70 nations, and that's being mishubad, being enslaved to that. So what's being said over here is that this Shabbos, you have the opportunity to connect with seeing deeply, to seeing much deeper. And how do you know that if you're seeing deeply in a person? It's when you realize that as much as I'm seeing, I know that there's more. I know that there's more. Okay. So he says, "Du lachem davar amok, kishetinok nolad hu bocher." When the second last paragraph, 168. When the baby is born, he cries. V'einayim shelo adayin atzumot, and his eyes are still closed. Ki hu mefached lefkoach otam. He's afraid to open his eyes. Never mind what the doctors tell you. This is the truth. He's afraid to open his eyes. Ulai ein adam ba'olam sheyuchal lelamed oti eich lefkoach et ha'einayim. Because maybe there's no one person in the world that can teach me how to open my eyes. I'm afraid that there's nobody here that's going to be able to teach me to look with eyes of hope. Maybe I won't be able to look at anybody with eyes of hope. But the most amazing thing is, mothers have this holy ability. A father teaches his child everything that they need to know in the world. The father teaches the child to see things on a high level, and to look at the world with different eyes. אבל מבט של כיסופים וציפייה, but to have a vision of yearning and outlook for the future, מבט כזה אפשר ללמוד רק מהאימא. That's something that you can only learn from the mother. Because, plain and simple, בזכות נשים צדקניות נגאלו אבותינו ממצרים. You ever heard that? Right? What happened there? What happened there was things were so bad. Pharaoh was killing the baby children, the baby boys. The men said to their wives, that's it, we're not having children anymore. Right? What did the women do? Huh?
They got dressed up.
They got themselves mirrors, right? And they started using some makeup, and they would go at the end of the day and meet their husbands, and they would tease them a little bit. They'd look in the mirror and they'd say, see, I'm more beautiful than you are. But on a deeper level, what they were saying is, can you see the future? Can you see our future? Like, man, you're giving up your vision of the future? It was our mothers that kept the vision of the future. Now, parshat Gashmias, how is a child born? The woman carries the child for 9 months. You can imagine what kind of vision of the future she has to have to be able to do that for 9 months. Okay? You know, like, I don't know if men are capable of doing that. Okay? Women have this, they're wired in a way that they can do that. Okay? So you know that when we were giving contributions to building the Mishkan, so it says in the Torah that the women came and they brought their mirrors. You remember that? Did you learn that? And what ended up? It was taken and it was used to make the kior, the laver, that the Kohanim washed their hands and their feet before approaching the Mizbeach. Okay. Now it's the only thing that the Torah tells us which contribution was used for a particular thing in the Mishkan. People brought gold, silver, copper, all kinds of things, but the Torah never tells you Moshe Yankel's donation was used for this peg on the wall. Okay? There were no little, what do you call those things in the shul?
Little plaques.
Little plaques. There were no little plaques saying, the parachas is from Hermes' first shop and this and that and so on. Okay? There was none of that. But the one thing that the Torah tells you is that the kior was made from the mirror, from the marot hatzavot, the mirrors that the women brought. Why? So Rashi brings a message that when they came and they brought their mirrors, Moshe Rabbeinu's first reaction was, "Are you kidding? You're donating your makeup kit? You know what I mean? You're donating mirrors for the Mishkan." And the Rebbeinu Shalom tells him, "You're making a mistake. These mirrors are very, very holy because they were used to continue having children." Now, what's pshat? Reb Nachman says, you like Reb Nachman? He told me this morning. So Reb Nachman says that memory was given to remember the future.
Future?
The future. Hashem gave you memory to remember the future. Forgetting is for forgetting the past. Now, don't take it like 100% literally, okay? But when you go to the Beis Hamikdash, when you go to the Mishkan, are you going there because you remember the past, or are you going there because you remember the future? Take a guess.
Future.
Smart girl, I'm telling you, you must have gotten 100 on every test. But she's right.
What does it mean?
Why are you going to the Beis Hamikdash? Because you go to the Beis Hamikdash because you had a lousy past, or because you want to have a better future?
You want to have a better
You
future.
want to have a better future, right? What's the whole thing of tshuva? Ana zamin lemeheve. I am ready to become, to be. That's what tshuva is about. Okay? Is I'm ready to be better than I've been so far. Okay. Now, when you look in a mirror, what do you see? The past or the future? Almost right. It's the present minus a picosecond. Okay?
Past.
Is what you're seeing really is the past, right? So Moshe Rabbeinu, it says, mirrors don't belong in the Mishkan because they're showing you what was, they're not showing you what's going to be. Rabbi Shalom says to him, not these mirrors. These mirrors were showing the future. They were seeing the future with these mirrors. So that explains why Hashem said, accept the mirrors. But why Dafke the Kiyor? Why Dafke the Kiyor? Why Dafke the
Purification
Laver?
of the hands and the feet.
Right? So if you ever read Macbeth, you ever read Macbeth? You're from England. You read Macbeth?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
And what is Lady Macbeth constantly doing with her hands?
She is most cool.
She's trying to get the dirt off her hands, right? What?
It's just a very
Out
good
there.
Yeah? Her hands are stained. She's trying to get the stains off her hand, right? And Macbeth was a plagiarist. He stole that line from Yeshayahu. In the Perek Aleph of Yeshayahu says, he's giving us Musar, and he says, and when you raise your hands in prayer, Hashem says, I cover my eyes because your hands are full of blood. Okay. So you're coming to bring a korban, you're going to the Mizbeach, comes the Satan, and this is happening with all of us, comes the Satan and says, oh really? Mazel tov, you want to be holy all of a sudden? Look at your hands, look at your feet, look at all the stains on your hands and on your feet. I know where you were 5 minutes ago. How do you even dare to approach the Mizbeach? Right? So the Rebbeinu Shalom says, wash your hands and wash your feet. Right? Go over to the Kiyar. It's made from the mirrors of the women who were always looking to the future, who were seeing the better future, who were seeing the way things could be and will be in Yis Hashem. Understand? So that's the Indian of the last thing that we were reading over here, right? Is that, teacher calls up your mother and says, oh, honey really made trouble today, and da-da-da-da, what a bad kid, or Yankee made trouble. And the mother says, you want to tell me that my kid is bad? What's the matter with you? Right? Something wrong with your eyes. Right? And that's the avodah. The avodah is to have good eyes, to see good eyes, to see with good eyes, to see with yearning eyes. That's the avodah that we need to be doing. Okay? And this Shabbos, because it's so much about the eyeing, you understand? So it's a gateway is open to achieving that, to getting closer to it. Okay. So this is a good thing to take with you today, to think about, how am I looking? Am I looking with my right eye, or am I looking with my left eye? Am I looking with my eye of chesed, or am I looking with my eye of gevurah? Think about it. See you tomorrow, Mr. Shema. Yeah.